Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite Clemson podcast. We're talking about OrangeShadez Podcast. We're coming to you live from the Arden Grill Studios, and this is Jay, and of course, with me is the man, the myth, the legend. He is the Clemson wide receiver that went on to just go crazy at the Chicago Bears. We're talking about Airese Currie. How we doing, Airese?
All is well, Jay. I appreciate you having me on once again. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk Clemson football for the Tiger Nation.
Exactly. And first, before we get started, we want to send our prayers and our thoughts to everybody that's been going through this tragic Hurricane Helene. All the people up here in the upstate, in Western North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, everywhere were impacted and caused unfortunate deaths and people that are still struggling. And we're not even halfway through the magnitude of this. And our thoughts and prayers are with everybody. Sports is back to the real things that are going on out there. So our thoughts and prayers are with everybody up there that's struggling with this. But this week, Airese, we got Clemson versus Florida State. Everybody billed this as DJ going against his former teammates, and DJ's not even going to be playing. So, folks, this game's kind of lost its luster, plus the fact that Florida State right now is 1-4 doesn't help. Got thoroughly handled by SMU last week. Airese, your thoughts before we get into the breakdown of the game?
Well, it definitely has lost the luster that they had for this particular game preseason, based off Florida State's lack of production or just as far as performing. But I think we definitely can't overlook these guys going down there into the dope. I had the opportunity to play there 2 to 4 years. I was with Clemson. It's a very tough environment to play in, so we definitely have to bring it. Offensive line is going to have to step their play up. We were a little subpar in our performance last week versus the Cards, but as long as we're ready to go and we take that crowd out of it, I think we'll come out victorious.
Now, Airese, that's something you brought up, the Stanford game. You know, we still won by a landslide, and we didn't even have our best game. Now,
right.
I know there in the second half, we played a lot of second and third stringers, and that seems to be what everybody wants to complain about, that we're allowing these other guys to get in and get ample playing time. But you need that from your freshman class to see where they stand, learn their weaknesses, get videotape on them. And against, Stanford was no joke. I mean, they was actually a pretty good football team. So,
Exactly.
Now, like I said, with you being a former player, getting the rookies in a lot sooner, and of course, you also your redshirt sophomores, people that did not play, of course, any last year. How important is that, even if it's in what they call trash time?
It's very important, especially as you get later on into the season, because the more depth you have, the better off you're going to be. The more bodies I can rotate to keep individuals on the field fresh, we can really fly around and play fast. So I have no issues with that at all. I mean, I played as a true freshman. I had teammates that I played with as true freshmen as well. And if you're ready, you're ready, regardless if you're a young guy or not. And if you're just progressing throughout the year, hey, let them go out there and showcase their ability and talents.
I agree with you. Well, before we get started, folks, we want to thank our sponsors, Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Donnie and Angie, always great to have you part of the OrangeShadez broadcast. Also, we want to thank Clemson Wine Bar in Clemson. Go by and see Tiffany and her great staff. They will take care of you. And also, we want to mention our other sponsor, Catch This Sports. And Airese, tell us a little bit about Catch This Sports and what you're trying to do over there.
So currently I am doing a fundraiser for my own performance training facility. I kicked it off about, the middle of last month, just trying to raise my own capital to have my own sports performance training facility. I've trained a number of athletes over the years, and I continue to train them as well as general fitness people. And I've done that more so at the local parks and local high schools, things like that. So now I'm just more so getting into doing it full time, and I just know how this generation of athletes is set up. Having a brick and mortar just gives me that much more appeal as far as those guys wanting to have a space that they can call home, especially guys that play at the collegiate level. I've had the opportunity to work guys post post-college as well as current college players, and for them to just be able to stay in state and train and get quality training, that's what it's all about, and that's what I want to be able to provide for them and give them that level of elite performance training that they can have right here in the state of South Carolina. They don't have to go to Georgia or Florida or California to get that training. They can get it right here in South Carolina. So it's my dreams and my aspirations to have that up and running by next year, as well as the objective as well as to help combat depression amongst our adolescents, and physical activity can help with that. So that's the goal. If you're interested in donating and want to participate or want to support, you can always go to my website, www.catchthissports.com, as well as the link, https /catch/this/sports.chatterup.com, and you can go to that donation page, and it gives a whole description about what I'm trying to do and the time frame and the things that we're planning to offer for the community.
Awesome. And folks, also, if you notice what Airese is wearing, what I'm also wearing, we've got our new edition OrangeShadez hats. He's got the last year's style. I got this year's style. Of course, I'm going to be taking his down to him eventually here. So make sure you go to redbubble.com, the Furman Joust collection, and get your OrangeShadez podcast. We've got shirts, hats, you name it. You can get phone covers. Anything you want, anything you need, redbubble.com, Furman Joust collection, get your OrangeShadez gear, and we want to thank Redbubble. All right, Airese, let's break it down. If you give us some offense for this game against Florida State.
Okay, offensively, I think the offensive line definitely has to step their game up. Their level of play was definitely not their best last week playing against Stanford. So I think the key is being able to get back on track with them being physical. And this guy, regardless of what their record says, this is going to be a talented group of guys. And they haven't lived up to it thus far this season, but the defensive line is arguably the strongest point of Florida State's defense. And so I can see them finally putting their thing together and hopefully coming up with the upset against us at Doak Campbell. We just got to be able to be in a position to make sure we're executing and we're being physical, establishing the run with Maffa, those guys up front, those big guys up front, as well as getting our receivers still going. I think Wesco and I think TJ Moore probably have a breakout game. Those are some key players that I look to have great production out of, especially TJ Moore being in his backfield, his home state type deal, to see just an opportunity to be able to shine and showcase his ability in his home state as a true freshman. I think K just needs to remain sound and confident as long as we get him in a rhythm early to keep confidence that he's had over the past weeks. I think we're going to rock and roll, Jay.
Sounds like a plan. Florida State has a great defense, but their defense is got a lot of great stars on paper, but so far this year they have not been what people thought they would be.
Yeah, they're lacking. They're giving up 382 yards a game. 216 of those are in the air. 165 on the ground. So I don't see why we cannot establish a strong running game tomorrow night versus Florida State with Maffa in our offensive line, just getting after those guys.
I agree with you. Now we're going to go to the Clemson defense against the Florida State offense. Of course, our defense is stout. Our defense is probably one of our brightest points along with the offense. The offense has looked really good so far, but we're still not clicking at where we need to. But our defense is stout. Now, a lot of people's like, well, look where our defensive yards give away. Well, once again, like we talked about, that's with the second and third stringers. The first stringers are not allowing all them yards. Now, last week we did allow some running last week. We did get a little bit exposed in the running game, but I think that Wes Goodwin will take care of that this week. I think the guys are going to be set up and ready. I think Barrett Carter is ready to just go into Florida State, make a statement, especially as far as he goes. And I look for Clemson to bounce back defensively. I think this is personal after last year losing at home and all the talk and everything about all the way the Florida State fans, threw Clemson under the bus. Oh, y'all are going backwards. We're going forwards. And then, of course, this year, look what's happening. Other than the hiccup with Georgia, Clemson has looked very well. So I think Clemson's defense against Florida State's offense, of course, as we know, a brand new quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman. And first start, I just do not see this young man doing well against a Clemson defense that is going to just completely blow up his offensive line. And I think our defensive backs are going to be I really do believe we'll have 2 interceptions and possibly 3 sacks in this game.
I definitely agree with you, Jay, on that. I don't see this young quarterback, even with them having the home field advantage, being able to just perform like they're hoping. I guess they would hope him to perform versus our defense. Like you said, this is a revenge game for us. You know, that nasty taste. Hopefully they still have that taste in their mouth from last year, that loss that they took to them, and we go out there and continue to keep this thing rolling and set the tone and just put people on notice and let them know that Clemson football is for real.
I agree. And, of course, in the polls, you know, I think it's real funny how people can just jump Clemson all the time. We could win big and still get jumped, barely move. I think we moved 2 steps. Now, I think one of the polls we moved up to 12th, but I think the rest of them's got like 14. We're just
14, 15.
Yeah. So I think Clemson's, you know, we're used to the disrespect in the polls, so it's not something that we're not used to. So, but I think we make a statement game against a Florida State team that's actually just not a good Florida State team. Let's just be honest, this team is struggling.
They are bad. I tell you what, we are going to have to be on the watch out for, though, Jay. They have one of the best special team units in the country.
Yeah.
And they can do some damage there. If we're not sound in that special teams part of the game, they can hurt us there. Their punter's averaging darn near 50 yards per game. He's number 1 nationally. You know, he's one of the top kickers nationally with multiple kicks from 54-plus yards. And special teams, the ace, Shaheem Brown, he already has 2 field goals blocked this year. So we definitely have to make sure we're executing in that special teams aspect of the game, so we're not giving them any extra momentum in that regards.
Yep, and the good thing about their special teams, they're all seniors. So hopefully we won't have to see them anymore. Their place kicker, their punter, everybody, their return man, they're all seniors. And of course, like we said, this team was put together by the portal. So folks, let's just look at this as in why Dabo doesn't worry about the portal. Everybody talked about Florida State. Look, they got all these people in the portal. They're going to be national champions this year, winning the ACC, and where are they at? 1-4 because they're not the cohesiveness. Is that how you say it? Cohesiveness, yes, is not where it needs to be. You got guys that were not number 1 players at all that were brought in. Yeah, they were good players where they were at, but not on the Division I level. And they wasn't in that kind of capacity. And now they're expected to be wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and they're just not that on a Florida State team that was supposed to be a national championship contender.
Yeah, they haven't figured it out, and it's just, unfortunately, I don't see them figuring it out tomorrow night.
I agree with you, Airese. Well, I tell you what, I look forward to getting down there this year, and we're going to have to do another show from the Curry House. Boy, I tell you what, that food last time was too good. Now I'm gonna have to bring some more Ardens to enjoy down there with you.
Bring those wings.
Oh yeah, you know it. You know I'm gonna bring you some. But we want to thank everybody for joining us this week on Orange Shades. And sorry we didn't get to you last week. Like we said, the hurricane, I didn't have any power. I don't know about Airese, but I know we didn't have any power up here. We just got it back yesterday. So we want, once again, give to the Red Cross. Give to anything you can because the government and FEMA is not helping anybody, unfortunately. So we've got to help our own. And so give to the Red Cross, give to the food banks, anything that is going straight to the people in North Carolina. They need it. They need our help. I know I gave canned goods yesterday, and our church gave canned goods, and I know people are helping out all over our area. Just keep giving. You cannot give enough to help those in need. So, like we said, that's the main thing that we wanted to talk about today. And of course, also Catch This Sports. Please give to Airese Currie's dream of getting his own performance center. We are solely behind him in this. He helps so many young men and women, and this would give him the tools he needs to help them out. So make sure you give to catchthissports.com. And that's where the link is.
Correct.
So
that's correct.
Yeah.
And any amount is greatly appreciated. I don't care if it's $1, 50 cents, any amount, it adds up. So like I was we were talking about before we started today, they're slowly trickling in, and I'm gonna continue this fundraiser all the way up to next year around this time, and we'll see where we're at there once that time frame comes.
Yep, and of course we'll be back live on the Clemson Facebook group next week. Hopefully we'll have everything back in gear. We're having to do some makeshift. As you can see, I got Airese up in the phone here, and I'm having to hold it. So
we forgot. I know we're forgetting, Jay. We're forgetting our score prediction.
Oh, I'm glad you said it, because you know what, I kind of felt like we already knew what the scores would be. But you know what, Airese, tell us what you think it's going to be right now. I'm
going Clemson 35-17 with the smacking in Doak Campbell Stadium.
Hey, and I'm going to do you one better. I think Clemson wants to make a very big statement to you Florida State fans. I think it's going to be around the 51-3. I think at halftime, that stadium is going to be empty, and the only ones left is going to be the band and the stragglers that are too drunk to leave.
I like it.
And yes, you heard me, Florida State fans. So anyway, we appreciate everybody listening to us and joining us each and every week. And me and Airese will be back in full form on the Friends That Love Clemson Facebook group next week. And then we're also going to be going to TikTok now that I've got that figured out, Airese. I forgot to tell you. Yeah. So nice. You need to go on live 3 days straight. That's what you need to do. I found out how we can go to battle. So once we do that, we'll be inviting all y'all to our TikTok, and we'll be battling. Not battling as in for fighting. We're going to be battling to support our group. All the funds that we do during TikTok will be going to Catch This Sports. So great cause. We want to make sure we take care of Catch This Sports, because like we said, it's going and it's helping young men and women. That's right, young men and women, no matter what sport. Airese will be there to help them out. All right. We want to thank everybody for joining us here on OrangeShadez Podcast, brought to you by Orangeburg Grill, Catch This Sports, Upstate Physical Therapy, Pepsi Cola, and the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one.